Hi everybody, it's Hannah from Mother Goose's Makery, and today I am going to be showing you the Tonic Yuletide Memories die set for day 5 of Tonic's 25th birthday. So today's die set is a gift, Christmassy gift boxy one. You can make a poinsettia, holly, or some baubles. There's pages of instructions and lots of lovely dies. So we have all the bits that make a poinsettia, bauble, round bauble, teardrop bauble, holly. These leaves go in between the petals of the poinsettia. These can be, I want to say variegated, but I don't think that's the right term. The lines on the petals. We've got some deer, some decorative trims. This is the veins of the holly leaf, which is why it's so big. Lots of swirls. Little Christmas tree. That's the middle of the poinsettia. That's the petally bits. And then these are all the sides for the lids and the boxes, and they've cleverly got little symbols embossed on. So that is a holly leaf for the holly box, and that's a flower for the poinsettia, etc, etc. So that's the die set. There's not much to say about it, but look at the array of prettiness. It's going to make loads of other stuff. However, it also has a paper pad, and as soon as I turn it over for you to look at, you can see where they're going with that. So, you have your normal Tonic tags on the back to use your dies in. And you've got presents with stars on the back. Gingies, I love a gingy, with almost like a madras checker on the back. Lots of wonderful Christmassy icons that are just crying to be die cut, with holly and leaves on the back. Some Christmas seeds, some polka dots on the back, some cut apart, some Merry Christmas, gingies, leaves, baubles, a scene, a mix of everything. And on the back, baubles, which, guess what? Can be cut out with your dies. So you can use that to decorate the top of your boxes. Love that. Then more random baublage, and then these are the round baubles that are also in the die set. Stockings with beautiful red and white snowflakes. That one we've got already. Holly, and even bigger holly. And these are obviously for the boxes again. Christmas trees. And these are your poinsettias for the top of your boxes. And those are your leaves to go around the outside. Although weirdly, there's not enough leaves. Because the leaves would only do one. Unless you cut these in decoupage. Ooh. Well, I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do, but it's a wonderful idea. I love a bit of decoupage with some foam pads and making something a little fancy and big. Right. So that is your 12 by 12 paper pad, and this all comes in the same set together. And then we also have some foil fusion. This is 4 sheets. some icons, some sentiments, some poinsettia bits, big poinsettia, bits for your tags, top of the bauble so you can do that in gold, round bauble. Oh, I wish there were 2 bauble tops. Just saying. That's the middle bit for the poinsettia. Love, that's nice. So yes, and you get 2 of each of these. So you can make things pretty and glitzy and fabulous. So that is Friday's release. Many pieces to make the poinsettia box because that seemed a good enough place to start. So 2 bases, 2 lids, 8 base sides, 8 lid sides, and these are just decorative bits. So I've cut out the leaves and done some metallic veining on them, and then flowers for the top. But it'll all become apparent as we decorate. So it's going to be the same principle to make both the top and the bottom. I'm going to start on the bottom. And basically, super simple. We are going to apply glue to the edge of a piece. And you're going to want the middle curve to be a mountain and the flap to be a valley. And all we're going to do I'm just going to make it clear now, I do not like a box with curved sides. Not to look at, that's fine. I don't like making them. So I'm going to say that now, so that we are under no misconceptions that this is not my idea of a good time. To which you might ask, well, why did I buy this die set? And I will answer, because it's pretty. Because how could I say no? So yeah. And we're also going to pop some glue down this flap. So remember earlier when I said I really don't like curved side boxes? Well, my patience ran out, so I'm cheating. Basically, what I'm doing is sticking red liner tape to each edge so that the little semicircular tabs grab hold straight away and I don't have to hold it and fiddle for minutes for each section. I will still use wet glue on the vertical joins, and then what will happen is, because we cover the entire poinsettia base with an additional base piece to hide our workings, I'll use liquid glue for that. So we have the strength of the red liner tape in the instant grab, but we also have the wet glue seeping into the fibres strength for the base and keeping it all together. So you're belt and bracing it. It's a much better plan. It takes a lot less time. And it makes me a lot less angry. And that is the important thing. So we're going to red liner, add on all the sides, and then we'll cover the whole thing in glue. So now that all the sides are attached, I'm just going to burnish all of those seams along the edge of the flower, just to make sure that the card's really tightly pressed together and glued tightly. Also, I know I did use red liner tape. I did put a little bead of Nouveau across the red liner tape to give us a little bit of wiggle room when we were using that. Right, so that's our flower base all burnished. So I'm now just going to pop glue all around the edge and a big scrubble in the middle, and then the other poinsettia flower we're just going to stick atop of that to hide all our little edges, keep our flaps hidden from the world. No one needs to be seeing them. So there's our finished poinsettia box base. What I will do now is the lid, but I'll do that off camera. It's exactly the same method, just with shorter sides, and then we'll come back to decorate. So we have our box, base and lid, and now we're going to add on the poinsettia leaves. So there are 8 of these, and I've just cut them out, and then I cut the veining out of a metallic green card to place on top just to add a bit of contrast. So to apply these, we're going to put glue on either side, and then with the lid on, I'm just going to line up where it should go, because obviously I don't want to stick them too high so that the lid doesn't fit on, or too low that it looks weird. So we're just going to place it directly under the line of the lid, and then just press it in with your 2 fingers. Maybe use the bone folder to press it in properly. You can see here that I just removed the lid so that I can properly squeeze together the inside of the box to the leaf to make sure it's fully adhered. And then we just work around the entire circle until we have done all 8. I've sped this up so you don't have to sit through the whole thing, but it's exactly the same as the method for the first one, just for the other 7. Also, I wish I could actually craft this quickly, because life would be a dream. But alas, I cannot, because I am human. So now that all the leaves are in place, I'm just going to use my bone folder to just make sure that the corners are right angled to the box and that everything is properly adhered, because we don't want anything coming off, because these leaves are only attached by like 2 little flaps and they're kind of on the outside, so I was aware that they might be more delicate. However, Nouveau glue works like a charm. So now we're decorating the lid. So what I've done is I cut out 8 petals out of metallic red card and the plain matte red card, and out of the metallic petals I cut out the veins using the die in the set. The veins that I cut out, I stuck to the base of the lid to add a bit more interest. And then the petals with the veins cut out, I glued on top of the matte petals. I then glued the petals onto the lid so that they were offset, just to give more fullness to the lid. So I've attached the first 4 already, and then I'm now attaching the second 4, just because I've got metallic card involved, so I want to make sure everything is properly adhered. So I'll just speed up the next 3. So the smaller flower die that's inside the round bauble on the set, I have cut out of both the matte and the metallic card, just so I can keep the layering going and keep the interest with the different textures of cards. So I've just lightly curled these petals with my bone folder, and then I'm going to glue those into the centre of my pre-existing flower. Now, this is where I'm very thankful that I made the adornments off camera, because I've cut out the middle part of the poinsettia out of both gold metallic and gold matte card, and I have layered the 2. But it took me an inordinate amount of time to line them up, because it's not symmetrical. It only fits one way, and it did not want to find its home. I spent so long rotating the top piece and slowly sinking into insanity. So, because this is metallic card, that I'm sticking to metallic card, I'm just going to use a little bit of red liner tape on the back of my flower centre, just to give it a really robust, quick stick. So, tape on, and then the centre of the flower we put in the middle of the poinsettia, and we are done. See, although I've used a little dot of glue on there, as well as the red liner tape, I feel that without the red liner tape, that piece would have been slipping and sliding all over the top of the flower for longer than I was willing to spend on it. I'm so impatient. So this is our finished poinsettia box. It's so pretty. In real life, I feel like film doesn't do it justice. It's so honestly pretty. It's very much a give to your mum for Christmas kind of box, but I love it. So that's 1 down. Stick around, because we still have a holly box to make and 2 different kinds of baubles. Okay, so box number 2, we are going to make the holly leaf and berry. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the holly leaf and the berry that I cut out from the Matching Yuletide Memories paper pad. So for this, we need 2 of the small holly base, 2 of the larger holly lid, and 1 of those is from the paper pad. So remember, when you cut out the paper pad, it's the larger one because it's going to be the lid. You are going to need 8 of the base sides, which have a little holly imprint on, if you can see that. And then we're going to need 8 of the lid sides that also have the little holly indent on. That's wrong. There's the base, there's the lid. And then we have 4 more holly lid sides, and we're going to have 4 of the circle that comes out of the middle of the bauble, and 1 of those again is the paper cutout. And this is a very simple make. It's very similar to the poinsettia. So what we're going to do is we're just going to join these up in twos. And what I've done is I've curled all of these with my bone folder, just because obviously all the serrated parts of a holly leaf are curved, and if you pre-curve them, you're going to give yourself a fighting chance to get this done easily. So right, we're just going to pop a bit of glue on, and we're just going to put these into pairs. Now, after all of the poinsettia doing, I tried to do a bauble with all metallic thread, and I'll be honest, I hated myself for that because none of it wanted to stick. So I'm going to be good. Now, I think it's supposed to make this with about 230 GSM card, but I had some green card that was 270 and I thought it was the perfect colour. And also, I've already made one of these. It is here and undecorated. And this is made out of 216. It's fine, but I feel like my daughter's put that in there. I feel like it's got a bit of buoyancy to the sides, and I don't really want the buoyancy. So I'm hoping that making it out of a slightly thicker card will cause more robustness. And whilst we are at it, we might as well do the same with the base pieces. So again, I've just curved them with my bone folder. And we'll just pop these into pairs. So we're going to start with the top of the box first, just because I glued those first. So we're going to give it a moment. Just so you're aware, although it doesn't look it because of the veins, it is symmetrical, so it doesn't actually matter which way around you put the die cuts. So you can have nice finished edge to nice finished edge. Because obviously if it wasn't symmetrical, you'd need to very much watch what you were doing. So we're just going to pop glue around here. We're going to take one of these and have all these folded down, and just watch me be all fingers and thumbs. Going to start off with a corner, and just work your way all the way along here, and you'll see that the point here matches up with the point there. It's almost like it's been designed perfectly. It's exactly like it's been designed perfectly. So I'm gluing this to the wrong side of the die cut because I want to have my neat edge on the inside of the box. And then on to the next. And you'll see that this is exactly the same construction for the top and the bottom of this box. Just obviously you need to use the lid sides. I just had a moment of doubting myself. The lid sides on the lid pieces, because the lid pieces are slightly bigger, so the lid sides are slightly longer, otherwise not going to work. And then when it comes to the next piece, just going to fold that over, put glue on the outside of that. Outside of that, and along here. And right up into my glue. Oh. I'd edit that out, but look, this is real life. Sometimes you do dumb things and your glue tips out over your desk. Let's not try and pretend that perfection lives here, because it very much does not. I hope I at least, when I did that, managed to clear the blockage, or else that's going to be incredibly annoying. Luckily, well. Just use that for the glue I needed. Honestly. This is just how my life goes. So again, we've attached that to that, and we just, so you've got a corner, and then we're just going to attach all these flaps down. And due to the fact that this is going to be a multi-make video, and I don't want it to last for 8 days, because although that would do wonders for my YouTube viewing hours, it would be so dull to watch. And I'll be honest, probably make. So I will speed all this bit up. Now sometimes with these, what I find easiest to do is to turn them over, and you can just push that in to the side to make sure it's perfectly into the side and that you haven't got any gaps. Because you don't want any gaps. Or when you put the other half of the lid on, you'll be able to see through. Just go in, make sure it's all pushed in, and I've got a pointy Teflon tool so I can just get in those corners and make sure that they are adhered. Okay? So that is the top of your lid. Let's finish it off. You're going to put glue all around the outside. do, use a little spatula. Just it's kind of a bit weird and serrated and not your normal flat surface. Just do that, get them all in. Pop this on here. Smooth it down. And then again, just press it down, smooth it. And then we can just let the glue dry, and that's it. You might want to weigh it down with something. I'm going to weigh it down with my little printer. That can stay there. So, for the bottom one, it's exactly the same procedure, but with the bigger sides. So again, we're going to speed this up.
See, aren't you glad I sped this up and I'm not making you watch me do this in real time, making small talk, which, because no one else is here and this isn't a live with a chat function, is just me talking to myself for an unknown amount of time, and you don't want me singing show tunes.
There you go. That's that. So that is one box with lid. So now we want to do the berries. Berries. I've tried making these two different ways. Which way do I think works better? I don't know. I honestly don't know. So first of all, we're going to glue two of these together. And then we are going to glue this around here. This is not the official way. This is the unofficial way I did it, which I felt worked better than the official way, because the official way was really fiddly and I have fat fingers, so that didn't really work. And that's way too much glue. I'll just smooth that out. It's fine. And we're just going to stick that all the way around. Like so. Pop that inside. Not going to glue it yet. We're going to see how we go. Now I'm just going to pop this down. And just push the edges up to the circle so it's a butting, because I want it to be tight. I don't want there to be gaps. Just And then I'm going to do the same with this one. So, you can see now I have 2 circles. And they essentially fit one over the other. Like so. That wants to be over a bit tighter. This is a bit loose, so just put some more glue there. Just push. Right on that one. So we know they fit together. So what we're going to do is do a terrible job of spreading glue all over. That was awful. I was trying to do it for the camera and just completely missed. Just pop that in there. And then because we put glue under the flap, we'll roll that under, push that over. That should cause a lovely seal. So the way you're supposed to do it is you join all the tabs so they're back to back, so and then you put both of those in. And I found it was really tricky getting my chubby fingers in between, so I came up with my own method that was easier because I had access from all angles. Right, so then to one side we are just going to glue a normal red circle to hide this. Boop. That goes on. And on the other side, we are going to pop on the pretty paper one. And there you have your holly and your berry. And then I would probably stick that on with some glue. Or if I had 2, which I haven't made 2 of the picture ones, but I have some in my... See, these were made with different methods. Everything kind of looks the same, so I don't think it really matters. You could, for example, pop 2 and then just pop that 3rd one on top. And just kind of hot glue them on, or with some Nuvo. And I think that would be really cute. Obviously obey laws of balancing and science and stuff. I'll kind of have it to one side. We'll just have 2. But the problem with 2 is, and then I start feeling you're entering phallic territory. And I have a smutty mind, so I don't want to do that. Right, so that, I've no idea how long that's been wonky for. That is how to make your holly box. And it's wonderful. And yeah, with the 270, you can see how much more robust it is. but you're going to get that with different weights of paper. But people say you can't really do curved boxes with 270. Yes, you can. You can do them with 300. Just depends how much you hate yourself. The 270 was fine though. I think the pre-curling was the way forward. So, holly done. Let's bauble it up.
Okay, so the next one we're going to deal with is the round bauble with the inset lid. Full disclosure, I made one earlier. It looks like this. We're not going to dwell on it. It was bad. I made it all out of metallic card. It just went terribly. So we've started again. So you are going to need 2 of the base pieces and 2 of the lid pieces. You can just see there, once again, base is slightly smaller than the lid. What we have done is we have cut a circle out of the 2 lid pieces using the circle die that's in the teardrop bauble. And note, if you weren't doing the inset, you would just leave them whole. Then we're going to need 4 of the base sides, 4 of the lid sides, a bauble end cap, a bauble lid end cap, and the little bauble hangy dangly thing, which probably has a technical name and I don't know what it is. So we're just going to call it that. Also, we're going to need the circles that we cut out of the lid pieces. And to go around our circles, the instructions say in total that you need 8 of the lid pieces. That's not true. What you need is 4 of the lid pieces for the lid. And then for the insert, you need 4 of the pieces that we used to go around our holly berry. You can see it's slightly longer. And obviously 2 of those fit perfectly around the circle aperture, whereas 2 of the smaller ones I've tried before and then literally spent days going, but why doesn't it work? I used the bits it said to use in the instruction. So, learn from my mistakes and my general confusion. You need 4 round bauble lid sides, and then you need 4 of the, what do they call them? Oh, the holly lid / berry side. You'll find it at the bottom of your die set. It has a holly on, and then it does have a tiny circle, so maybe that's what's supposed to imply that it's the inset. I don't know. Anyway, wasn't clear to me. Then I worked it out after I made the holly box, so we're all good. We are going to start by joining up the holly side, lid side die cuts for our inset lid. So we are going to join 2 of the lid sides together, the holly lid sides, and then we're going to join the other 2 together. So once we have our 2 pairs, what we need to do is attach the 2 pairs to each other back to back. So we have one lot of curved edges on one side and one lot of curved edges on the other side, so that we can join something to either side of it. This was what we were supposed to do with Hollyberry, but we didn't. So once we've got our 2 pieces thoroughly attached, we're just going to trim the flap off of one end, because obviously you're only going to be needing to join it the one time. So now we've got our sides prepared, we are going to make our inset. So what we're going to do is loosely attach the two ends together. There's going to need to be some wiggle room to make sure that it's a perfect fit. And then once we've done that, we insert it into the middle of the aperture we cut into the lid. This is where you can just adjust it to make sure that the pieces fit all around the circumference of the inner circle, because you want it to be a tight fit, otherwise it's going to throw the whole thing off. Once that's in place, pop glue all around the edge of the inner circle underneath the flaps, and we're going to press the flaps down into it to secure them, to make sure that our recess isn't going anywhere. And then I'm going to do my normal thing of burnishing the hell out of it with my bone folder, just pressing down on the neat side to make sure everything is adhered, that the glue's being pressed into the fibres and that the card isn't going to go anywhere. So make it nice and secure with your bone folder. I need to get a t-shirt which says burnish the hell out of it on it. Now we need to insert the base of our insert. So we're just going to put glue all around the edge of the small circle we cut out, and I'm just going to place it inside the aperture and press down all of those flaps onto the disc. So you can just see that I'm doing that, and then I turn it over, and then I use my bone folder on the inside just to make sure that it's nicely compressed and in there. And then we are going to apply glue to the underside where all the flaps are, and put another circle on top just to cover up all of our workings so everything looks nice and neat and flaps are hidden. And then I'm just tidying up all the glue around the edge because I'm a mucky pup. So now you can see that we have most of our inset lid, or a hat for a tiny bird. Minus the side sticky out bit, obviously. So now to turn this into a lid for our actual box, we are going to do what we have done with every other box in this series. We're going to apply glue all around the edge and attach our lid sides to it, pushing the flaps into the glue, making sure that the card is tight to the curves of the lid. The only difference with this one is that there's a separate bauble lid piece that we're going to need to attach at the neck of the bauble. So firstly, we're going to take our bauble lid cap and fold along all the crease lines, and then we're going to need to attach it to the lid we have already made. So there are short flaps with 45-degree angles in them, and those go on the same side of our lid as all of the flaps from the lid sides, if that makes sense. So that's how we attach it to the main body. So I've just applied some tape to the sticky out bit of the lid, and you can just see I'm just putting glue on the flap from the lid side, and then we're attaching that to the lid side, and then the 45-degree angled bits to the top of our lid. And then what will happen is there's another flap that sticks out of the side of the bauble lid cap, and that just gets glued behind the lid side, so it becomes a continuous chain. Those are just the attaching sides. So one side, the lid side, attaches to the cap, and the other side, the cap attaches to the lid side. So now we are just going to need to finish off our lid by covering all of our flaps with the other lid side cut out. So because it's metallic card on the lid, I've just popped another bit of tape over it because I want it to actually stick, and I'm going to apply glue over the rest of the lid to stick the lid on. Also, I need to make a point. When you cut your two lids originally and you cut the hole in the centre, what you need to do is place them back to back, because that's how they're going to go when it's put together. And I cut the aperture out of both at the same time, just to make sure that the aperture was in exactly the same place, because otherwise your lid will not work. And if you cut the aperture out together but both pieces are right side up, that's not going to work either. In this case, my card is the same colour on both sides, but on the previous one I did, because my cardstock was metallic and it was white on the back, I had to make sure that they were back to back when I cut it, so that the nice side of the card would always be showing on my box. So that's a very important tip that I hope you take from this instruction. So yeah, so I've just applied glue to the top of it, and I've stuck the other die cut on the top. That bit didn't really need much explanation, but it gave me a chance to tell you the thing I was meant to tell you earlier. So now we've got our lid complete. We're just going to stick the decorative bauble dangly bit, which is not its official term, to the front, just to finish up our bauble, because we have the sticky up bit and we've got the metallic round the sides. We didn't have anything on the top, so we've cut out the end cap and we're just going to stick that to the very top of our bauble. And there you can see that is our bauble lid complete. Now, it would have been a lot more straightforward if we just done a normal bauble, because we wouldn't have done basically the first half of that. We would have just taken the lid, stuck the sides round, put the end cap on, stuck the top on. None of that inset malarkey. So lid done, and we are just moving on to our base, the construction of which is the same it is for all the other pieces. I didn't do this with the lid sides, but I'm just going to stick all the base sides together, and then we're going to stick them around the bauble. Equally, you could have attached the lid sides together before you glued them to the bauble lid, but what we have learnt from this video is that I have no consistency about the way I put things together from one part of a video to another. So there you go. So, as we have done for all the other boxes, we are going to have to curl down our little flaps and then apply glue all the way around the bauble and just stick those flaps into the glue. I will say the one concession I made, because I wasn't gluing them on individually, which I think is actually easier, and because it's one long strip, it's harder to hold it in place. So I have just put tape sporadically around the outer rim of the circle, just so I have some anchor points, so that then I can press down the flaps on with the glue in between, but know that it's not all just going to ping off, because I've played this game before. So I've put tape at like 1, 3, 6 and 9 if it were a clock face, and then I'm just going to stick it down tight with the anchor points down and then glue in between the anchor points. And you're able to see as I go round with my base sides just how much easier it attaches when you have the tape there to just do a quick grab, because otherwise you have to hold on to literally every single point and allow it to grab before you can move on to the next one, whereas with this one you've already got that starting point there. So as this is like the 6th base / lid that you have seen me make in this video, I'm gonna speed this up because we don't have all day. So now we're just prepping for the bauble end cap, which is basically an elongated version of the bauble lid cap that we made before. So I'm applying a little bit of blue tape to the back that I can adhere my lid to, and I'm also applying some tape to the inside of the top flap of the bauble lid cap. It will all become apparent as we do it. I've also just grabbed a nail file and I'm taking a little bit of the shine off of the other flap that needs to stick to some card, because I've found that way you can get the glue to adhere, just because obviously it's got a coating on it. So what we do, I take my tape off and I'm folding in the two sides, flaps down, and then the top flap that has tape on it, I'm just closing over it, and that gives us a nice square start to our end cap. And that square lid will just go at the top of the opening, and it just kind of holds everything together. Then I'm applying tape to the flap that I've just scuffed up with the nail file, and a little bit of glue that can seep into the card underneath. And I'm applying glue to the flap that extends off of the lid side, so that then I can just place this on. I can tuck my golden flap inside, and then I can just hold it so the gold flap adheres to the purple side and the purple flap adheres to the gold side. And there we have a nicely secured bauble cap. And then what we're going to want to do is just stick down the back of it to the tape that I put down earlier. Then we're going to glue everywhere and pop the back of our bauble on. And you will find that now we have a complete box. So as a finishing touch, I'm just going to take the inset of my bauble and I'm just going to put a little bit of gold in card inside, because I'm fancy and because it looks more impressive than when it was just purple. So I've taken the same size cutout and just inserted it into the hole that was made. You just push it all the way down to the bottom, and then I just use my bone folders to just make sure that all of the little edges were smooth and as deep set as they could be. So now we have our finished round bauble box with inset lid. Perfect. I was going to do a video for the teardrop bauble box, but it's exactly the same as how you make the bauble box. So it's the same construction with the lid sides and the lid cap, and then you attach the top, and then you put the bauble cap on, and then the same with the base, attach the sides, attach the bauble end, and then put the base on. What I did do with this one, just to make my life easier, was I made my bauble cap out of the same pink card, so I didn't have to worry about metallics, and then I just stuck this one on top. So that's what I'd recommend doing. Make it out of your same neutral card and then just stick a metallic top to the top. And also it looks neater on the inside because you can see that's all pink, whereas that has white. So that to me is more aesthetically pleasing. And in the centre part, which I stuck in, I did a foil fusion from the packet just because it looked jazzy. So we have our teardrop bauble with cutouts using the die set. So they're all the dies that go on the inside of the teardrop bauble. For this one, I did the inset using that same centre hole, and I used the foil fusion from the packet. For this one, again, decorated with die cuts. And I made use of the cutouts as well, the negative as well as the positive. And then for this one, I used the accompanying paper pad that came with it, so that you can see what the papers look like. And obviously we have my stack of berries, and then this
is just a plain naked one. I'm still yet to decorate. So there you have my selection of Yuletide Memories gift boxes. I think they're super pretty. I think they'd probably sell well at a Christmas stall. And they'd be great to give little gifts to. So something bigger, clearly a mum present, something cute and little for the kiddos. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's helpful. I've tried to cover everything that I think needed to be covered in making all these gift boxes. I had some trial and error. I've told you where I went wrong so that hopefully you don't make the same mistakes. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you want to see more of this, please give a subscribe. I regularly do tutorials on how to make Tonic die sets and how to make cards. So yes, I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoy Yuletide Memories. There is an affiliate link in my bio if you want to buy it. And keep crafty. Bye.